We are back for another episode. So today we have Katie Wood. Katie is the owner of KD-Clutter. She's a professional
Mhm.
organizer and a home stager in Houston, Texas. As a single mom to her two kids, she understands firsthand the challenges of balancing a busy life. Juggling family, business ownership, and maintaining sanity requires a sense of humor and resilience, qualities that she brings to the table for every client interaction. So, Katie, we're super excited to have you today. Tell us
Thank you.
a little bit more about your business. What brought you here?
Yeah, so I've always worked in corporate America, and long story short, right before COVID hit, I was working for a lash company called Extreme Lashes, and I was selling eyelash extension training. Now, I love everything and anything to do with the beauty industry. If Nina Poole on TikTok tells me something, you can bet I will be at that place to go get it. Like, I freaking love it all, and I'm a sucker for that stuff. So for me, selling something in the realm that I love was fantastic. So then you go into COVID hits. And my biggest struggle as a female married with kids trying to work, I wanted to have my cake and eat it too, meaning I wanted to have a job. I wanted personal fulfillment. But I also wanted to be a mom. I wanted to be available. I don't know about every family dynamic, but I was the one that did the practices, the baseball tournaments, the games, all the things. It was my responsibility. So trying to find that balance was huge for my mental health. So COVID came and everybody's at home. My ex is behind closed doors doing his job, no, not bothered, just living his best life. Where I'm in a little nook listening to my two children fight over on school learning. And I'm like, I can't do this. This is not a way of life. I'm going from people doing in-person training to now trying to convince them to do eyelash extension training over the internet, which I don't know if you know anything about eyelashes. If you get them put on, they're very small and it's very a tedious process. So it made no sense. So I ended up quitting my job, and I'm like, I am at the point in my life I need to find something that fulfills me. And I actually had started praying really hard. And that night I came up and said, oh, I want to organize. Well, this fire inside of me just ignited, and it was the coolest thing. So the next morning when I woke up, my routine was to always turn on the Today Show. Well, wouldn't you know it, a segment of Home Edit comes on. And if you don't know about them, they're the two girls out of Tennessee that organized everything by color. And I was
Yep.
like, shit, okay, God, I see you. Well, then like a couple of other things like that happened to where I'm just like, it just kept leading to organizing. I'd always done it in my house. It always just made sense to me. It never was, a scratch on the head of like, ooh, do I make this work? How do I make it happen? It always just did. And so I approached my ex about it, and he was like, I don't really think this is a good idea. And I'm like, well, fun fact, I already quit my job. And yeah, I know, right? I already quit my job during the pandemic, and we're going to go with this, and we're just going to see what happens. So, started talking to my friends about it. It started off with a sister's best friend's closet, and then it led into the next thing, the next thing, the next thing. And actually, I think this September will be 6 years doing it. So the first two and a half, no, the first 3.5-ish years, it was a part-time thing because I was still running kids and, doing all that. And then got divorced and said, okay, shit has gotten really real. We're going to do it full time now. And it has been the coolest, most humbling, most hair pulling adventure that I've been on. But I can tell you, from day one, I have loved every absolute second of it, from the client interactions, the new clients and the people that I've met, the networking, everything that goes with it. So it's just been a roller coaster of emotions, but the coolest one I've been on yet.
That is amazing. And I
Thank
bet,
you.
look, you're bringing balance, you're bringing life to people's houses.
Yes.
We've got a lot of, whether they're single moms or they're divorced or they are, they're busy all the time, constantly
Right.
running out. So
Right.
having that organization piece, number one, I can't do that. I've got organized skills, but girl, if you were to look in some of these drawers right here on my desk, you're gonna make me face. what the fuck is in there because it's a mess.
Absolutely. Well, in society as a whole, we're just busier. And so even if you have two parents working, one parent, income, whatever the circumstances may be, we're just busier, and the home has now become just a dropping spot. It is not a place to go back and recharge and have serenity and just like that comfort place. It's now come to a point of contention of like people don't want to be there because you've got the shit piles that you've dropped off because you're trying to get done with work from the grocery store. Now you've got practice. Now you've got this. And by the time you get home at the end of the day, nobody wants to deal with it. And
Right.
so that that mentality goes from day to day to day. Now you're at weeks, now you're at this, and now you walk in, you're like, holy shit, how did we get here?
Yeah. Oh, that's
So,
like,
yeah,
especially people who, and I hear this from even some of my own clients, like the dishes stay piled up, there's
yeah.
a junk corner, a junk cabinet, a junk room. What would you say
Hmm.
for people who, and I know we've talked about this briefly, but people who go into that paralysis where it's like, I can't do anything because I'm so overwhelmed. What would you tell somebody in that aspect?
Well, first, it is a very people are very embarrassed by asking for help because, and I feel like I would say 90% of my clients are women, and they are embarrassed that they can't maintain it, and it's gotten to that point where they have to ask for help. But like for me, I'm like, girlfriend, what are you talking about? How are we supposed to manage all this? Like it is such an unrealistic expectation to work full time, still manage the full kid load and the home and everyone's schedules, and like there's no reason why it should be a stigma of, oh, you need help. Girl, should be like, congratulations, you realize you need help. There's people who can do it. And I feel like me coming in as a mom, doing the exact same thing that you're doing, it's more of like an aligned friendship more than just saying like, "Ooh, I failed and I have to have somebody come in and look at my failure and then fix it for me." It's just we're all in the same shit show. It's just who's going to be on stage that day for us to help and reset their home and then move on to the next person.
1,000%. And who the fuck ever said we were meant to do it all? Where
Yeah,
did that
yeah.
expectation come from? And then if you
I don't
can't,
know.
then you're not good enough.
Right. Well, and then you have Facebook, you have Pinterest, you have all the things of like, the secret lives is people who are really not showing their real life, just showing the stuff that they're doing and this fake facade of, well, shit, she can do it all. Why can't I? So then you start comparing yourself. Nobody's freaking doing it. We all suck at something. They are just highlighting the things that they got done that day, or hell, it might have taken them a month to get to that point, and that's the one thing that you're highlighting, but that's the one thing you're comparing on because they did what you couldn't do, but you have no idea their backstory of what got them there.
Yeah. Yeah. And that comparison game, oh my gosh, I tell my clients all the time, comparison kills. Like
Hmm.
it kills
Yeah, I agree.
it'll kill your spirit, your joy, your presence, how you show up, all the things, because
Hmm.
every way that you look at it, you're never going to be good enough.
Right,
But
right.
not good enough compared to what?
And no two stories are the same. So how do you even begin to compare yourself to somebody else?
Yeah, 1,000%. So having somebody that comes in to declutter, look, I hired a maid one time because
Yeah.
I just couldn't take care of my house. Like if you had looked at my house, girl, I was a
Right.
single married mom at the time, if you will. And I was like doing everything. I did
Yes.
laundry. I mean, I had a system, but getting the house clean was like, it would be fucking bananas for me.
Mm,
I hired a maid. She came every freaking Friday. So
right.
every Friday, I knew we got Costco trips, Sam's trip, grocery trips, all the thing with the kids. And then it was like, I'd come back home and I'm like, oh, this is wonderful. And
Yes.
I even remember when I made that decision of like, oh my God, I can't take care of my house anymore. And I felt
Hmm.
ashamed. I felt embarrassed. I felt guilty. Like I'm
Yeah.
expected, I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I'm expected to do this. And I
Yeah.
remember one of my coaches telling me, hire somebody to help you. And I'm like, I don't need the help. And it was like in that
It's a
moment,
pride thing.
yeah. And in that moment, it wasn't even when she said, it's not that you need the help. It's that you're taking something else off your plate and you're giving somebody who's really good at it a chance to shine.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
yeah, that's where all of that came from.
I love that. You're just helping taking something off somebody's plate that is good at what they're doing so you can focus on other things. And that's one of the things that I tell my clients is like, let me be the fairy that comes in while you're at work and it's just done. You come home and your pantry's done. We'll go through a debrief on what I did, but what is the problem with going to work and coming home and it's being done? You have house cleaners that clean your house. Now, do they put the stuff away? No, they pile that shit on the stairs or the table or the this. And that also contributes to the piles because then you can't ever get to those piles of when the cleaners got there because they didn't know what to do with it because there's no space for it. So it's just
Mhm.
like, let me work with your maid or your house cleaner, and together she can clean, I can declutter so she can clean everything and have a harmonious, area when you get home.
Yeah. And then you don't have that room that you're always shoving shit in and shutting the door.
That's my favorite. Just shut the door.
Just shut
Set
the
it and
door.
forget it.
You know what I do? I just shut the cabinet. I put all of those freaking Tupperware shit, shove it in,
Yes,
quickly close the cabinet. Whoever
before they
opens
all come
it,
falling out.
whoever
Yes,
opens it, it's your fault.
exactly, exactly.
So how often do you meet with your clients? So let's assume, you go through somebody's house, you clean it up. How often are you
Mhm.
expected to come back?
So I do offer maintenance programs, and it really depends. No two stories are the same. No two tracks or paths are the same. And so, like, I do have a handful of families that we will work on getting house reset, and summer hit. Well, those heathens are going to be home undoing everything that I just did. So we're gonna put a halt on that, and
Yeah.
we'll come visit that. I do have clients where I come back and I'll do a reset, and that is just simply like, look, we went in, got everything organized, and I'll come back in and I'll just fine tune, let's just say their bedroom closet or their laundry room, mud room area, once every 3 months, just whenever. Um, but I mean, that's becoming more and more likely in part with having a house cleaner come in and clean the house because it just helps address. And then what essentially I can do is 99% clear out the clutter and then say, hey, this is your stack. I don't know what to do with. Here's your homework. Thank you very much. Make it, make this pile disappear. I did everything else.
So do you teach people how to maintain it or like
I
do you
do.
have sessions?
I
Okay.
do. But the reality is, some people either just get it or don't get it. Some people just come in and no matter how hard they try, depending on the kids' age ranges and where they are, and especially if they're in sports, if it is just a drop and go situation, it does not matter if they understand the process. They still don't have the additional time to go back and when you come back from the grocery store, unload everything, get it out of boxes, put it in something so you can see where it is. Usually it's just like, hey, throw that damn box in the car as snacks. So when we go from point A to point B, I'll got something to eat. You know what I mean? So even though I can teach them the process, that does not allow more time for them to actually maintain it. So then that's where my reoccurring services come in to help with just the resets on every other month or whatever we decide to do.
So I like that. I like that there is and I like that you call it a reset.
Mm,
Because it's regrouping essentially. It's not that you
right.
system. And that isn't always so I say that to say I watched some of the home edit and I
Yeah.
loved it. But what got me was some of the ones that they went back to redo. And I'm like, how do people keep and maintain this all the time with kids? Like some of the
Mhm.
pantries and everything else. I'm like, there is no freaking way. I go look at my pantry, I organize that shit almost every day because they just
Right.
throwing stuff back in there. And I'm like, guys, put it back where we got it from. What are we doing? And it doesn't
Let me
always
tell you,
happen.
No, I'm a home organizer, and can I tell you, I went through and I did, during COVID, I went through and I did all the pretty stuff and I labeled everything. And I was just like, it's just like content for showing people what I'm doing because, I'm getting started. Girlfriend, can I tell you the most pissed off I got at my kids is when I was unloading groceries and I have the cute little egg carton. I took out my Cricut. I even did the little vinyl letters that says eggs because, we need to see the name of them so we know exactly what goes in there. Some asshole in my family took the carton of eggs and just set it on top. And I'm like, y'all know what I do for a living. What the hell? Like,
Yeah.
take the eggs out and put it in the acrylic because it just looks prettier. But then it goes back and says, that's not conducive to everyone's schedules either. And I don't like when families or people get these stigma in their head of having these picture perfect Pinterest style pantries, and let's just pick on them because it's very easy. They're very sexy. The baskets are amazing, but that's amazing for empty nesters who don't have kids going through that and messing it up all the time. You've got to have the pantry that is functional for you and your family and what you have going on at that time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so there's not a cookie cutter solution for everybody because everyone's circumstances are different. And I think for me being left-handed creative, I love that because I'm not making the clients fit into this square peg. I'm creating something that actually is functional and works for them. And I think they appreciate that because it is, oh, now I know when I go to the grocery store, I can open my pantry and see visibility what I do and what I don't need because there's nothing worse than going to the grocery store, coming back and you have empty boxes sitting in the pantry and like, well, what the hell? I just did inventory and these idiots that I live with put the empty boxes back in there. And I like now the one thing that we always need, I did not get because you put an empty box back in there. So it's just it's a losing battle for the most part, especially depending on when you have kids at that age. It just now becomes what is the most functional for your grab and go situations and active kids. And when you're especially in that age range of running the roads all the time, um, it's just there's no two solutions for the same people. So it's fun in that aspect.
Yeah, and your creative side gets to come out and create a system that, like you said, it works for everybody in the home. Not just
Yes.
mom, not just the mom screaming and making sure all the boxes are checked. I mean, we throw
Yes.
boxes away whenever we get
Hmm.
any kind of thing. So, like if it's a cereal box, we take the cereal out of the box so that everybody can watch it disappear. And then
Well, yes.
when it's time to put it on the grocery list, like when do we need more of this?
Right. And I'm not the organizer that goes in and says, you've got to go buy out the container store. Like I'm very resourceful. I'm very budget conscious because it is expensive. And I know my services are not the cheapest and it is somewhat of a luxury to have it come in. But I am an advocate of having those acrylic containers, at least for like the staple stuff, the stuff that you go through all the time, because the one thing that you do, there's two things that happen is you either go in and you buy 15 boxes of the pre-bagged goldfish because you don't know how many you have, but kids are going to eat it. So you pick one up, not knowing you had 15 more already in the top of the pantry, or you underbuy and you don't buy the essentials that you need. So having that visibility of pulling those snack items, pre-packaged items out into something that you can actually see, it saves money from a budget standpoint, and then from a visibility checklist of when you are doing your inventory to go to the grocery list, it makes it so much easier because that's always the one staple thing that you always buy. So do we need to buy it this week or next week type thing? So it helps streamlines several other processes outside of just in pretty acrylic.
Yeah. Yeah. See, I used to use some of the acrylics and then I got lazy because who has time to refill that? Now, if I go buy in bulk, like if I go to Whole Foods and I buy like nuts in bulk or, lentils or whatever
Oh
else
yeah.
I'm buying, then it goes
Yeah.
into the acrylic and everybody can see clearly what it is. We know
Hmm.
we're out in the system. So yeah, it's systems work, they work for everybody, but they have to work for the whole family too. And
100%.
my kids get, man, our systems keep changing.
I do, and it's always fluid, and that's why I like when you go and buy stuff, specifically like acrylics. I don't know why I'm picking on them just because they're easy. You can morph them into other areas of the house, so you're not married to them being in the pantry because they are a specific basket or a specific type of container. Because you can now take that acrylic, and maybe your kids are grown and out of college now, but now you can repurpose that into the bathroom underneath the bathroom sink, or a linen closet or something like that. So it's universal and you can have multi-purpose use out of it once it's done for that intentional purpose.
Yeah, no, I love that. And look,
So
your vision, you and I've had these conversations many times. Your
yeah.
vision and some of your content that I've seen, I'm like, damn, like, why you gonna live in Texas? Can you come over here? Can we just meet up? Because I can give you a whole house full of shit.
Oh, I love it. I love it. And I
I'll
mean,
just
I
sit
know
in the
some.
back. I'll sit in the back and I'll drink my drink and you just do
You
your
just make it happen. You know what's funny? Like, I love doing my videos because I just think they're stupid, but I think they're so real, and people are like, it's just relatable. And in the sense of like, I mean, come on, dude, seriously, what the hell? You know, but I mean, I think I do kind of offend people, but I think it's because my videos are so just 100% honest. I'm a realistic person. The shit, what are we doing here? Like, come on, people, mentality. But I haven't gotten in trouble yet, knock on wood. So we're gonna keep going with them and see what happens.
okay. Yeah, I don't see where you'd get in trouble. You're just being real and raw, and that's how it should be. I
Mm.
have a question. So I have two questions.
Yeah.
But my first one is when you're coming to work with somebody, like what does that process, what does that system look like? You walk into a home, you have no idea what we're expecting, or I'm sure you've done a
Yeah.
consultation or something like that prior where you've got a good idea of what
Mhm.
we're doing. What goes on in your brain when you're walking into a room or a house?
So, so the big thing for me is building trust, because it is vulnerable of letting some stranger in your home, and that you already have that shame guilt inside of like, I failed. And putting them at ease of saying, typically it's a mom or, a female. And I'm like, girl, I got you. Just understand that I'm coming from a perspective of I have seen it. I have dealt with it either personally or professionally. And this is not out of the norm. And it's so funny because the number one thing is like, oh my gosh, it's a hoarding situation. And I walk in and I'm like, there's nothing dead on the floor. Like, there's no piles going up on the side of the wall. Like, you might be chronically cluttered, but there's no rodents hiding anywhere. So I think hoarding, but in their mind, it's gotten that bad.
Yeah.
But first and foremost is just building that trust and that relatability of you're not the first. Don't be afraid. Don't be shameful about it. And then I kind of go through the process of like, let's say if somebody had a lead and they want to work on three areas of the house. My first question is, what is the area that's driving you nuts the most? Because if that is what is creating the most anxiety and that cluttered weight on your shoulders, when you walk in the house, you want to walk into a room and just feel like, okay, I can take a deep breath, but you can't actually because you got shit piled up on the kitchen table or in the mud room or fill in the blank wherever you've decided to put it. You can't relax. So, first and foremost, is what is the number one thing that is eating at you that I can take off your list? And then we'll do what I call a roadmap. Okay, great. So now once we get this room reset or this item reset, what is the next room, and kind of work our way through it? Because for me, a lot of it is, and I hate to use this if people are cat lovers, but this is the only way I can describe it. If you live in a house with 30 cats and you don't realize your house smells like 30 cats, then you're nose blind to it. It's the same thing when you walk by a room or a pile. You see that shit every single day and you get task paralysis and you don't know what to do with it. I
Yeah.
walk in and I'm like, oh, I would cherry pick this, and this. And then I would do this, and this because I don't see it every day. It just makes sense to me. And then one of two things happen. Either we start getting that ball rolling of like, oh, that ease and that release of the anxiety. And they're like, I want more. What can we do? Either they end up saying, like, hey, I want to try it and do it myself. Great, fantastic. I want to empower you to do that. But if not, no, I'll always be here. or two, they're just like, grow more power to you, keep doing it, go on to the next one, But the
Yeah.
big thing, the big thing is trust. What is the biggest anxiety and release mentally that I can take off your shoulders? And then where do we go from here? And that's pretty much it. And like I've got consultations where I was just on the phone with a woman yesterday. I'm meeting a consultation with her on Thursday. She is moving. She's got 4 kids. She's moving in a very tight timeline. And then we talked about me coming back to unpack it. And her questions were like, well, if you were to take the kids' closets, what would you do? And I'm like, girlfriend, I'm an extension of you. I'm a mother. I'm going to go in, I'm going to organize it so it makes sense from a functional standpoint. So when you go in, all your summer clothes are going to be here, but they're going to all be in a section together, or this or this. And she was like, you just hit the nail on the head. She's like, when you said an extension of me, to get the shit done, well, those are my words because I cuss, but for me to come in and actually do it for her with the mother's, blinders on, she's like, that's just what I need. I need another mother in here to just make it happen. And I'm like, I look forward to seeing you on Thursday, ma'am.
Oh, I love that. And look, you said in the beginning that it's a luxury. Let's be honest, health is a luxury these days because most of
Yeah.
us are putting our health on the back burner. And this
Oh
goes to
yeah.
mental health too. This
Hmm.
part of the mental health aspect of things, the mental, the emotional, spiritual, and even the physical. Because, dear God, when we've got all that bottled up anxiety, I mean, it's affecting everything symptoms, your body's off kilter, all kinds of
Yes.
things. And symptoms
Yes.
equal stories. So when you're
Hmm.
stressed the fuck out, we're
Yeah.
trying to take some of that pressure off the plate. So really and truly, you're a home bestie.
Yeah.
I'm your
Oh, I
bestie
like
with
that.
you.
Exactly, exactly. Well, and that is the one thing that I did not take into consideration doing the organizing is the mental aspect that came behind it. Now, saying that, the the anxiety of having the clutter on anyone's shoulders, that is a real thing. I mean, I can pan my kitchen counter or my kitchen cabinets and show you. I'm like, there's no way she lives like that. I'm like, yes, I personally don't care because at the end of the day, I don't want to deal with this shit. But they the mental reason of why people get to the way they do or how their circumstances got to where they are is very, very intriguing to me. And what I mean is, if I'm working with an older couple and they were either raised by somebody that went through the Great Depression, like a grandparent or parent, their tendency to hold on to things is a psychological tradition because they were raised by people who absolutely had nothing and they instilled in them they have to keep absolutely everything. That's where you get the people who are chronically cluttered and they keep every, tinfoil or extra, Tupperware bins that you had butter in from the 1980s, the blue bonnet stuff. Like everybody has a reason why. But the biggest struggle that I deal with is I cannot fix that behavior. I can only fix the outcome of the room.
Mhm.
And so it's kind of hard in a sense of like having to separate myself from that because I don't have a psych degree. We can't sit here and muddle through, why you're doing this. Or, if you recently got divorced and you get your kicks off of a dopamine fix. And so you keep buying every bullshit thing off of TikTok because it feels good at that time. But then when you get it, you're like, okay, now I have one more thing that has gone into my house. Where the hell do I put it? Because at that point, you have more coming in your house than you're relinquishing. And that's when your clutter starts coming up on the sides of the walls because there's no balance there. You keep buying, but you're not letting things go because you like this stuff and it makes you feel good, but you're not using any of it. So why are we holding on to it? So it's interesting to me, the why people are doing the way they things. I mean, another good one is a mom who is insanely sentimental to baby stuff. For me, that is, did she have a miscarriage? Did she have a hard time getting pregnant? There are things behind it. And sometimes it actually helps to understand the why because the husbands don't get it. Let's just get all this rid of this shit. We don't need it. And for her, not knowing what her body went through, not her through the mental what she had, had to battle with whatever that circumstance may be, that isn't actually a big deal to her. And no, sir, we're not just going to get rid of all this shit. We can pare down and go back to, hey, we've got 5 of these onesies. Let's keep 2 because we're not having any more kids and you have 4 boys and this is your only girl. Working like that mythology is better than just saying like you can't keep everything. That is just not going to happen. So it goes back to you can have this choice or you can have this choice. Both choices, both outcomes are I'm going to get what I want. You just get to pick which one you want to do.
Yeah.
It's like
Ooh.
working with kids.
And you know what? That's so real. This is why we're great for, the work we do, because even I do
Yeah,
the trauma healing side of things. So like send them my way when they're like, oh, bottled
exactly.
up with all the things. Because
Yes.
it's true, you realize where those patterns come into play. Girl, when I got divorced, I was getting rid of shit left and right. I was like, start
Mhm. It's
over.
so cleansing, like, get it
It
out.
was, and it gave me more freedom to really dive into, okay, who am I in this next level? And I
Mm,
started buying clothes differently, which we're gonna have a lady on here who does styling. She does personal styling for helping you to boost your confidence in your work and everything else, how color schemes and all that kind of stuff go. And it's really interesting to me
mm,
on all of this. So the mental health aspect is huge, but even emotional, you get that release, and it's not just a mental release. Oh, everything looks
mhm.
clear. It's also it's a declutter of the brain too.
Right.
About my day, I can think clearer. I can have more, better thought process. I don't feel brain fogged as much. I feel like I'm just
Mhm.
more clear, but I'm also more confident.
Right. And it's funny, I'm currently working with a person who empty nester, and for her, looking at her house looks amazing. She looks like she has all of her shit together. You open up the linen closet and the stuff is falling out. And mind you, like the linen closet is not a huge staple item or huge major aspect of the house of what gets used often. But going through that exercise, taking everything out, do we need these towels? I told her, I said at one point, girlfriend, your son's 25 and you still have the towel with the little hood when he was a baby. Like, what are we holding on to this for? She goes, I forgot I had it. Well, then we don't need it. Like,
Yeah,
you forgot you had it and didn't need it. But she goes, just knowing when we finish that project, just knowing that it's cleared out, it's cleared my soul in a sense because it's just that release of shit.
yeah,
And that's what people don't realize is you build your life to accumulate shit because at that point you've made it to that next status. You've made it to the next status. Well, finally, when you get to a status, and usually it's in about your mid 40s and kind of when you hit menopause, you don't give a shit anymore. You don't care what status, you don't care what people think you have or trying to keep up with the Joneses. And then you're like, why do I have all this stuff? It's just shit at the end of the day. Now, mind you, there are a few like sentimental things. I'm not talking about that stuff. I'm just talking about the stuff you get just to get to make yourself feel better and then releasing it. They're like, that felt so much better than just holding on to stuff that I never even used. That cleansing release of that clutter is much bigger than just holding on to it for I might use this someday or hell, I forgot I even had that scenarios.
yeah. Ooh, I love that. I love that. That's so interesting. And that makes me think so many other rabbit holes we could jump down for
Oh,
this.
all of it.
So we're definitely going to have you back. I really enjoyed this today. Thank you for being here.
Oh my gosh, my pleasure always.
We're gonna definitely do some more work together. I'm enjoying this. And so tell me this, do you do virtual type? Because we got people who listen from all around the world. I've got clients from all around the world. Do you do any kind of virtual help as well as, in your area of Houston?
No, absolutely. And virtually for me, I think is the way to go just because we can have these conversations, just like this. And because of technology, you can flip your camera around, you can show me your linen closet, you can show me your front room that's overcluttered and has now become the dumping point. And I even just did this with a lady today who actually lives in another city. And we did a consultation just like that. And we came up with a game plan of like, this is A, where we're going to start, B, because her house was so cluttered, we don't have a place to work. So we're going to focus on that front room. We're going to do A, B, and C. And then once we get those things done, this is now going to be our room that we're going to use to regroup. So anytime you walk through the house and
Mm,
you see this type of item, we're going to go put it in this pile. And that pile could be donate, discard, and keep. And once those bins or once that area gets full, if we're going to donate that, that's when we're going to go take all that stuff to donate. But every time you walk through the house, ma'am, you need to pick up 5 things and go find a place for them in that room. And
mm.
then that's going to clear out that space. But you can't, you have to clear out a space to have a space to clean and, work in. So it is definitely a jigsaw Tetris type game scenario, but it's fun. For me, it's fun. But coming up with the solution and creating that vision for them of what their potential end result's going to look like and seeing the light bulbs go off in their head is so rewarding because they're like, it's giving them light at the end of the tunnel. And those for the people that are absolutely chronically cluttered that just feel hopeless, do not see an end in sight, and even touching them virtually, giving them hope is absolutely rewarding and fulfilling.
I love that. Awesome. Well, thank you. Thank
Mm.
you for that.
Yes, yeah,
And it makes life
yeah.
so much easier. I have to show you. I have to turn my camera around at some point and show you some other things. So here's what we're going to do, guys. You are able to go through the description. We're going to get you all of her social links and website and Calendly or whatever, whatever we use for virtual. So that way you guys can get connected with her and you can declutter your home and declutter your mind and your body.
Yes,
So
yes,
thank
yeah.
you for being with us. And
Oh
we will
my gosh, thank you.
on the flip side.
Okay, y'all take care. Thank you so much.